Pump up the volume on your parenting with ParentPump Radio. Tune into something different that makes a difference. At ParentPump Radio, instead of a ripple, we choose to create a splash. Get energized, get inspired, and get informed with how to parent in the new millennium. With your host and parent coach super guide, Jacqueline T.D. Huynh.
Hi, this is Jacqueline T.D. Huynh. We're here to pump up your parenting skills, pump up your knowledge, pump up your energy. Welcome to ParentPump Radio. Our show is available on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher, and be sure to subscribe to our RSS feed so you will be notified automatically of new shows. If you're looking for a speaker for your organization or event, please go to my website at integrativeminds.com to learn more about what I offer and contact me at info@integrativeminds.com to schedule a meeting time. That information is in the show notes. And be sure to join us for our Family Financial Freedom Workshop live in the city of Torrance, California, or you can via live stream on Facebook. This workshop, as well as our theme for 2019 on Parent Pump Radio, is geared to help families learn, act, and implement strategies to become financially free. All the information is in the show notes. So let's talk about our guests today. They are authors, and they recently published a book called My Little Peanut Does the Nuttiest Things. Our first co-author is a writer, book reviewer, and former advertising copywriter. She's written several books featuring underdog characters, appeared on television and in mom blogs, written radio scripts for the Click It or Ticket national campaign and for Operation Lifesaver with well-known country stars, including Charlie Daniels. She's also a participant of the Hillsborough County Anti-Bullying Advisory Committee and wrote a book about bullying called Bullied, Dying to Fit In. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to Normandy Piccolo. Hi, Normandy.
Hi, Jacqueline. How are you?
I'm good. Other author is also known as Sunny. She is a barista by day and a fine arts painter, sculptor, and illustrator by night. She has a passion for expressing her creativity through acrylic, watercolor, wood burning, and writing short stories. And she hopes to share her artistic experiences with the world in order to heal while also helping those who have been through similar circumstances. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to Elizabeth Marie. Hi, Elizabeth.
Hello, Jacqueline.
How are you?
Good.
We talk offline how you guys are like twins from probably another life somewhere.
Yep, sisters from another mother or mister, I guess.
Right. Tell us how you guys found each other and then what made you so inspired to write this book.
So we first met as I'm a barista at a local coffee shop named Mojo's. And, we have books, coffee, records. And Normandy would always come in getting so many records. And I would always go through them as I'm ringing out. I'm like, oh, I remember this album. Oh, I love this one. And I remember I pointed out this Amy Winehouse one for her soundtrack for the movie that was coming out. And so we talked about that for a while. And the next thing you know, I asked her what she did. And she told me it was an author. And we really connected because I loved art and I'm writing stuff myself. So from there, it just blossomed into this, beautiful friendship. And, here we are today.
You sound like you have a lot of things in common.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. And every day we find out something else that we have in common.
Exactly. It's crazy.
It's crazy. The craziest thing is that we were born at the same exact hospital in Fairfax, Virginia. Yeah, completely different years because we're from two completely different generations.
Yeah, so that was hilarious. So whenever I said it, she's like, no way.
Like, what are the odds? And then we meet, we were born in Virginia, same hospital, and then we end up meeting in Tampa, Florida, of all places.
Wow. Okay. What started the conversation like, hey, let's write this book?
Well, I do a lot of the art for the coffee shop around, promotions, social media and stuff like that. And I have so much that I do, all the seasonal boards. And so she got to see what I could do as far as, my talents go for art. And so she asked if I would be on board for illustrating her books. And I said, of course I would. That sounds amazing. I've always wanted to do that. So that's how she got me immediately.
Yeah. And the funny thing is I've been looking for an illustrator for a really long time. And she was just like a few miles down the road the whole time.
There you go. Sometimes they're just right in your backyard.
Yeah, it's like, what do you call it? Like a divine appointment almost.
I know, right?
Your book, My Little Peanut, does the nuttiest things. Most of the people that listen to this show have teens or preteens or kids in college. So we're going to ask you guys out there in listener world to kind of go back to when your children were toddlers or around that age, because that's what this book is about. And I think sometimes we forget that our teens were cute little babies at one time, right? So,
Yeah.
different problems, different things. I was just actually with a friend, and she was babysitting her grandchild, and he was about a year old, and brings back memories. I loved it. Let's remember when our teens were toddler. Tell us some things about the book regarding that, and take us back.
Yeah, so with Memory Lane is what we wanted to theme it off, because, with teenagers and toddlers, they do have similarities between the two. And, even just going back to hilarious stories that you had as a kid. I remember I was such a quiet child. My parents, they wanted a second, child to keep me company because they always thought that I was so quiet. I don't know why, but I loved reading and everything, so I was very easily kept amused by myself. And they brought him in, and he destroyed everything of mine. Every toy I ever had, he'd come in and just destroy it. And for the longest time, I would beg my mother, I'm like, just take him back. It was the funniest thing. And I love my brother to death. And it was just going back to those times where it was just much simpler. It was just, having those memories come back to everyone of just all the funny things that your children have done or said. I remember my parents laid out a bunch of money. I didn't even know what money was at this time. And I took it off the counter, and I was just wrapping my Barbie dolls in it, thinking it was clothing. And so whenever my mother finally found it, granted, I didn't cut anything up. I was just folding it. So she got a good laugh out of that. But, the silly things that we do that we get to all reminisce. And it's one of my favorite things, for sure.
Yeah, I think normally you talk about how kids have funny words to explain things because they can't exactly pronounce it.
No, one of my favorites, and it's double hilarious because I'm Italian. I could not say the word spaghetti when I was a kid. I would always say buschetti. I could never get it right.
Yeah, my daughters couldn't say French fry, so she would say schwenschwei. It was schwenschwei. And my sister, her name is Denise, and she couldn't say Denise, and it was always Niecy. Now my daughter is 14, my son's 11, and they still call my sister Niecy, and that's like her nickname for the family is Niecy. Yeah.
Oh, that's adorable. My nickname was Pooh Bear because I was always eating honey.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, that's what my dad, that's what he used to call me. Actually, he still does.
Aww.
So I think the other thing, their ability to somehow selectively not hear what you're saying or asking them to do or not do. Don't touch that.
Oh, yeah, that, it's funny because my parents growing up, I was like a little bit rebellious. And like finger crossing there because I was really rebellious. But yeah, my mom was notorious for saying, don't do this, don't do that. And I was determined to do that.
Exactly.
And looking back now, I was wanting her attention, and I was pushing those boundaries for her attention.
Yeah, that's that. If you talk to or read books about parenting, that's what they say. It's really about attention. And teenagers are no different when you tell them not to do something, right? I think we all been there ourselves. You got to come home at this time, or you got to call me, or you got to answer the phone, and they don't.
Yeah, but it's kind of funny though, because like I can remember as a teen pushing boundaries with my parents, like breaking curfews and things like that, just because I was having fun, not really so much doing it deliberately. But on the one hand, it's like, yeah, I appreciated when they came down on me and they reprimanded me, because then I knew like they cared, even though I was mad at the grounding that happened, but at the same time, I don't really know why I did it other than, just being a kid and, you don't think a lot of times, you just do.
Mm-hmm. Well, on a physical level, the brain's not fully developed. So they're
true.
Only firing at anywhere between 10% capacity to up till, at the age of 25, which is when they're fully developed.
Definitely don't tell them that, because then they'll use that as an excuse. Well,
right, yeah.
I didn't mean to take the car out last time. My brain wasn't working.
Yeah. Tell us about the difference between telling a toddler no and a teenager no.
Oh.
What have you found the difference?
Well, for a toddler, they're almost kind of equal in a way. I mean, they both don't like it. They both tend to immediately overreact. But a toddler, I think, tends to be more, I guess, physical in their distaste for whatever's happening, whereas a teenager sort of gets silent, huffs, and will go away.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of pulls the silent treatment.
So one is like a passive rebellion, and the other one is like a very overt rebellion.
Yeah, exactly. Because I have seen some toddlers. I saw a man one time, a father. He was in the grocery store with his daughter, and they were in the cereal aisle. And the daughter wanted a particular cereal, and he's like, no, because he was trying to pick something healthy. She wanted something loaded with sugar. So they literally started in on this negotiation. And when the little girl realized she was not getting her way, boom, she pulled out that tantrum card, slapped that sucker down, and that was it. And it was on. And you know what ended up happening? The sugary cereal ended up going in the cart.
Oh, no.
Well, hey, if it works, you're going to keep doing it, right? That's what these parents don't realize.
Yeah, so she knew, and she had daddy wrapped around her little finger, and she knew exactly what to do. It was like, okay, Dad, I'll do the negotiation card thing with you for a minute. I'll play the game, but then, nope, it's going to be my way.
Yeah, my kids tried that one time and realized that did not go with me. We have very clear boundaries. I don't think they've ever laid down the ground and threw a tantrum. I think at one time they tried to cry to get something, and off we went, straight home, nothing else, and they never got to go to the store again. And so
well, it's funny because when I was a kid, I pulled a tantrum really bad. I remember in a Kmart, I was with my grandmother, and she was old school, and I'll tell you what, she was not having it. My mom was gracious, and she would be real polite and sweet and talk to me, but oh no, not my grandmother. Oh no. Oh, it was on when we got back to the house.
And you knew you never do that again.
You got that right. I never did it again. And and it's funny now because when I look back on it now as an adult, it's like I almost love her more for having done that. At the time I was mad and upset, and my grandma doesn't love me, and how dare her, reprimand me. But looking back now, yeah, it helped put some structure in my life. And help me to learn, like, you know what, you can't always get what you want. And just because you don't get it doesn't mean that you turn around and start acting.
And here's the thing, I think a lot of parents are embarrassed when their child does that on the floor, but they don't realize that all of us parents, and even if you're not a parent, you may be an uncle or an aunt, you've seen it. Really, there's nothing to be embarrassed about. I mean, it's actually very humorous. Just let your child throw a tantrum there.
Exactly.
It's completely normal at that point.
Yeah. And I sometimes make a joke, though, if a kid is really like wailing, like screaming, one of those like high pitched screams where your ears are like, oh my God.
Right, then take him out of the store. Yeah.
I usually make a joke and say that right there is a commercial for birth control for teenagers. Right there.
Yeah. My daughter tried that at one time, the very first time, and we basically just walked out of the store, back in the car, straight home, and that was it. Like,
that's how it's done.
There's
right
nothing there that I need that bad that I have to hang out.
Exactly. That's exactly how it's done.
Yeah.
Setting those boundaries.
The one thing I think parents always are frightened about is the Terrible 2 stage, which I find that it kind of goes into the Terrible 3 also. It's never just 1 year. And now that I have a teenager, I can kind of see the similarity to 13 and 14, maybe even for parents who have 15-year-olds. So what have you found the similarity?
For like the Terrible 2s to 3s, you'll see like whenever they're trying to get more independent and they want to, like my nephew, he would try and zip up a zipper from his jacket. And he couldn't. He didn't know how to do it, but he was so determined to do it. So I'd always just have to like try and start it for him to teach him, because anytime he would just hit me, like tap my hand. No, I got it. I was like, I can do this for you though. No, I got it. And it was just hilarious. So then when you revert back to like teenagers, they're trying to claim their own independence too. And when you try and help them with anything, they're like, Mom, I've got this. I got it. Don't worry. And I think it's adorable. However, it develops that stage between like childhood to becoming a teenager, and not a little bit of things change for sure, but it all reverts down to the same thing. It's just trying to, at that point, claim their independence from their parent and trying to, do something on their own, even if they don't think they can do it, or they think they can, but we know we can. We can't do it just quite right just yet. It's adorable.
Almost like self-discovery.
Yeah.
And this annoying belief that they know it all.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
That's one.
Even well into their older years.
Yeah. Some never got out of that one.
Yeah, no.
and that we don't know anything because we're not from their generation.
Exactly. And it's so funny. And I hear some stories from some of my friends who have, kids that are teenagers. And what's so funny is the kids will try to pull, stuff on them, sneak, lie, do all those little tricks of the trade that teens do. And they think they outwit their parents. And it's like, well, my mom will never figure this out. And then when mom figures it out, they look and they're like, well, how did you know? And it's like,
did the same thing.
Yep, been there, done it. And you're messing with the master. So don't even try. Don't embarrass yourself.
Yep. I have to say, though, there's one area that the teens have got us, which is the electronics,
Definitely.
The iPads, the iPods, the iPhone, like technology. They are definitely ahead of us on that one. And it seems like a race to keep up with them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it is. And it to me, some of that stuff gets a little frightening, too, because there's a lot of apps and there's so many they spill out like almost on a daily basis. And parents can't keep up with it. And some of these apps are even designed to be in secret. So they don't even know that some things are even on their kids' phones and computers and things. And then parents aren't, I don't know if it's that they don't want to invade their child's privacy by, demanding to see the electronics, to see what's going on and be, be more in tune with what their child's doing, what sites they're going to, who are they talking to, things of that nature. And I know that there's a lot of issues with that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I know at the school, they have a full technology department because every time they ban a website, the kids find a way around to get to another website that gives them the same information. So it's this constant.
Exactly.
You can't ban enough websites anymore because they just keep coming out with more websites.
That's true.
Or different ways to link to it. I know quite a few ways you can get around it by just switching it to like a different country, and then from there, from that country's one going to it. Yeah, there's a lot of different ways.
Giving them ideas.
and then now we talk about the apps, like what they're doing on these apps. Some of these teenagers are posting nudes of themselves, and it may be just to a boy, and then all of a sudden the boy captures that screenshot and it's out on Instagram and Snapchat.
And you know what they're not realizing too when they do that sexting is that in a sense it's considered child pornography, even though it's being exchanged between teenager to teenager. It's still viewed that way. And depending upon the laws in the state, some of the states rather are really starting to crack down on that. And it's a shame because some kids have already been labeled and put on lists as a sexually abuse list, predators and things, which I don't think is appropriate because kids don't understand what they're doing. They're looking for acceptance, but they're going about it the wrong way and they just don't realize it.
Right. Yeah. And electronics is almost like a drug. I mean, I see 1-year-old, 18 months old, if you give them a phone, they'll figure out how to swipe left, swipe right. And it's pretty scary.
It is very scary, very scary. And they also drain down batteries if they get a hold of the phone and start taking selfies and all sorts of weird stuff. What happened to one of my friends? Her phone was completely dead. And she was like, I know I charged it. I know I did. And then when she pulls it up, she starts looking and there's like pictures of the carpet and the ceiling and like all these just weird things. And she figured out that her little toddler had gotten a hold of the phone and just, the kid didn't know what it somehow figured out what they were doing, but didn't really know what they were doing and just went to town and snapping away until the phone didn't work.
I think a lot of it has to do with just having to teach your children responsibilities every moment, every day, and they're gonna mess up. That's just part of life, and that's a part of learning. I think that there's things that we can do to increase their character and responsibilities.
I think one of the key things is that a lot of parents I see, they're trying to be their child's friend and not their parent. And I think that's where a lot of parents are messing up. I mean, there is a time where you can and you will form a friendship bond with your child, but when your child is growing and like you started to say, you're starting to form the character and the integrity and all those things, you're trying to put all these things into your child. It's important to be a parent first
A role model for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, and they have friends.
Exactly.
But you're the only parent. They can't get another parent. Well, I mean, I guess if you get divorced and married again, I mean, there's others, those things. But really, they need parents in their life. They need someone to guide them, teach them responsibility, teach them how to be a character, citizen, and they've got tons of friends.
Yeah, I think another thing too is even if they do mess up, because everyone's bound to mess up once or twice. It does happen.
That's life.
But learning from that scenario or situation and growing from it to understand what you did wrong, what you could do better in the future, and what you can do to prevent from that incident happening again. And that's something that I think a lot of parents are also missing, because they're just reprimanding their children. No TV, no Xbox. I'm taking this away. No, you need to let them know, sit them down and say, okay, well, this happened. Where are we going to go from here? What are we going to learn from this incident, instead of just completely ignoring a situation that you could learn from it, learn so much. And
yeah, you guys talk about using chores to build responsibilities and character.
Yeah, I can remember growing up around the house, we would have to do things anywhere from dusting furniture to doing laundry. I mean, there's of course basic cleaning your room, those types of responsibilities. If you were a boy, you could go and cut lawns and do other things. And basically at the end of the week or month, or depending on how your parents did it, you get a couple bucks. And then from the money that you would earn, then you could decide, well, am I going to save it? And, if there was something that you wanted, instead of mom and dad running out and buying it for you because you felt entitled to have it, it's like, no. You're going to work for this. You're going to earn it. And it starts teaching responsibility on a double level. Responsibility to do, a chore that's been given to you, aka like a job. And then the money, and then how are you going to manage and handle your money and your finance early on?
In your opinion, how early do you think that we should be giving chores?
For toddlers, I would say I was making my bed when I was a toddler.
Yeah, I had to pick up my toys and stuff by the time I was like 4.
Yeah.
Put them away in the chest.
I'm not going to make a toddler do laundry. That's a little too far.
No, but you can start teaching a toddler like little simple things. Yeah, like just picking your toys and putting them back in a bucket or a little, little toy chest thing. Something as simple as that. And
yeah, I agree.
And then as far as older chore responsibility, I think normally I would say probably starting around the age of 12, but kids nowadays are so advanced. I would almost even back it down to the age of 10 almost, because they're so ahead of us, in a lot of ways.
The word chores always seems very negative.
Yeah, it does.
and I think it's just teaching them about how to be able to take care of themselves.
Yeah,
exactly.
Right.
Well, maybe
doing laundry, cleaning yourself, cleaning your house. These are things. I remember I have videos of my 18-month-old daughter copying me by wiping the walls down, because I would wipe the walls, and I have videos of her doing the same thing.
Oh, wow.
We're an Asian family, so all the shoes are left out in the front, or at least, front area. And I have videos of her crawling over and putting shoes away in baskets because they were out. So it was really cute that she sees that. Yeah.
Well, maybe like a better word for the chores would be like life responsibilities, because essentially that's what you're teaching is responsibilities that they're going to use later in life, because when they get older, they're going to get a job and they're going to have to learn the responsibilities of whatever the job entails. And then they're going to get, financial responsibilities as well, because eventually they'll get their own place and they're going to have to be responsible for, food, rent, all those things, that car payments.
Right. You're going to do a giveaway to our listeners. Can you tell us a little bit about the giveaway?
Yeah, we're just going to have the book, My Little Peanut Does the Nuttiest Things, available. I'm going to set it up on Amazon, through Amazon. So it'll go directly, whoever the lucky winners are, and they're going to be quite a few. Quite a few. Yeah. I'm going to be generous because I'm just a giver by nature. So I just always love to
So the link to that giveaway is going to be in the show notes, listener.
Yes.
Awesome. And any final thoughts?
We just want to say, thank you for giving us this opportunity to be heard, to get our adorable book out there, let people know the funny things that, children do, for new parents, even for, grandparents, remembering for any parent in general, just seeing the funny things and reminiscing in those times is just one of my favorite things to really go back to. And I just loved illustrating it, and Normandy did a wonderful job with it. And it's just something that brought us closer together. So I hope it also, brings families closer together as well.
Yeah. Laughter's always a good thing,
Oh, yeah.
especially, when you get families together, and especially when you can tie that laughter into good, fun memories. Because there's so much negative in the world, and so many people, everybody's so busy all the time. And it's very rare that you take those moments to just sit down as a family and just reminisce about those times,
They say that I think that statistic is like 90% of books on people's bookshelf have only been read to the first chapter. There are some books that are fun, like yours, that you're just kind of reminiscing about those times where you will read it through the end, because it's a short book, it's not long, and it's fun, and we like fun.
Yeah. And it's relatable, because I will guarantee you that there's at least one or two scenarios in there that somebody's going to read and go, oh my gosh, I did that, or oh my gosh, my kids so did that.
Yeah, it's actually a really good conversation piece if you have a gathering or a party. It's like pull one idea out and say, okay, I'm going to read this, and now you guys tell me what happened in your life or as a parent. Almost a little game.
Yeah, that's actually a really great idea, because again, a lot of times so many people are so busy.
It's like the book of questions. Have you seen those? The book of questions where you just ask.
I love
It kind of brings that as parents together, like the book of questions. Thank you so much for writing this book, and I know it came from your heart and your passion, and that's always a wonderful gift to the world. Listeners, you can find Elizabeth and Normandy at www.normandybrightideas.com. Now, that link is in the show notes, so just go down there and click on the website, and also their Amazon author page and the link to their free giveaway. Ladies, I want to thank you for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. The quote of the week is by Pablo Picasso. Action is the fundamental key to all success. Thank you, listener, and we will see you next week.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Go to ParentPumpRadio.com and click on the pink box on the top of our homepage to listen to our new and archived shows. To be instantly notified of new episodes, subscribe to our RSS feed. The RSS feed button is located at the top of the page where all our shows are featured. And after listening to the show, go to ParentPumpRadio.com or our Facebook page to leave your comments, questions, and topic suggestions. And while you're at our website, sign up to receive a free gift. Until next time, have a wonderful week.